What if you just stopped? No showers, no baths, no washing. Just you, your body, and 365 days of doing absolutely nothing about it. Sounds like a dare. Sounds impossible. But here's the thing. People have actually done this, and what happened to their bodies is far more terrifying than just smelling bad. We're not talking about missing a day or two after a camping trip. We're talking about a full year, 12 months, every single day. Your body running its biological machinery completely unchecked. The results? Shocking, medically documented, and in some cases, genuinely life-threatening. Scientists, dermatologists, and microbiologists have studied what prolonged hygiene neglect does to the human body, and the findings will make you want to jump into a shower the second this video ends. Before we dive into day 1, if you want to follow this full year-long biological horror story block by block, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't want to miss what happens around day 90. Trust me. Now, let's start the clock. Day 1 just began, and your skin is already reacting in ways you can't even feel yet. By day 3, something invisible has already begun, and you have absolutely no idea it's happening. Your skin is not just a passive wrapper around your body, it's a living, breathing ecosystem, home to trillions of microorganisms called the skin microbiome. Bacteria, fungi, and microscopic organisms that normally coexist in a careful, fragile balance. When you shower, you reset that balance. When you don't, the competition begins. Within the first week, your sebaceous glands, the tiny oil factories embedded in your skin, are working overtime. They produce sebum, a natural moisturizing oil, constantly. Normally, washing removes the excess, but now it accumulates. Your scalp becomes greasy and heavy. Your face starts to feel like it's permanently coated in a thin film. Your pores begin stretching under the pressure of trapped oil, dead skin cells, and environmental debris. Blackheads appear, then whiteheads, then full inflammatory acne. And the smell? By day 7, the bacteria feasting on your sweat and sebum are producing compounds called thioalcohols and isovaleric acid, the chemical signature of body odor, in quantities that people around you will absolutely notice. But the odor? That's just the beginning of your problems. What's happening beneath the surface is far, far worse. By day 30, your skin has fundamentally transformed. And not in any way that's good for you. That natural microbiome we mentioned, it's no longer balanced. Certain bacterial species, particularly Staphylococcus epidermidis and Cutibacterium acnes, have exploded in population. They're thriving in the warm, oily, unwashed landscape that is now your skin. Meanwhile, the beneficial microbes that kept them in check are losing ground fast. Dead skin cells, which your body sheds at a rate of roughly 30,000 to 40,000 per hour, are no longer being washed away. They accumulate in layers. This isn't just unpleasant, it's creating a physical barrier that traps heat, locks in bacteria, and begins to form what dermatologists call dermal debris buildup. In extreme cases, this debris begins to bind with oils and sweat, forming a thin, dark, grimy crust on the skin's surface. Your body hair, particularly in the armpits, groin, and scalp, has become habitat. The moisture, warmth, and nutrients trapped in those regions are now a 5-star hotel for microbial life. Itching becomes constant, irritation is relentless, and you've only just hit 1 month. But here's what nobody tells you about month 2. Your immune system is... What if your own body started attacking itself because of your hygiene choices? That's not science fiction. That's day 45. Here's what most people don't realize. Your skin is your body's first and most critical line of immunological defense. It doesn't just block the outside world, it actively communicates with your immune system, sending signals about threats, pathogens, and biological invaders. But that communication system requires a healthy, balanced skin barrier to function properly. By 6 weeks without washing, your skin barrier, technically called the stratum corneum, is compromised. The excess oils, microbial overgrowth, and debris buildup have begun eroding its structural integrity. Tiny micro-tears form, invisible to the naked eye. And through those tears, bacteria and allergens begin slipping into the deeper layers of your skin. Your immune system responds. Inflammation spikes. You may begin to notice patches of red, irritated skin. In people with any predisposition to eczema or psoriasis, those conditions explode into full-blown flares. Your body is essentially in a low-grade state of biological emergency, fighting a war on the surface of your own skin 24 hours a day. You're exhausted, you're itching, you're inflamed. And then, around day 60, you develop something that sends you to the mirror in absolute horror. Look at your hair. Now imagine it has never been washed in 2 full months. What you'd see isn't just grease, it's biology staging a full-scale revolt on your head. The scalp is one of the densest concentrations of sebaceous glands on the entire human body. It produces more oil per square centimeter than almost anywhere else. Without regular washing, sebum accumulates at the hair follicle openings, mixing with dead skin cells and forming plugs that block follicles entirely. This condition is called sebaceous hyperplasia in severe cases, but in your situation, it manifests as something more immediate: folliculitis. Your hair follicles become inflamed and infected, each one a tiny battlefield between your immune system and bacterial invaders. Small red pustules appear along your hairline, behind your ears, at the nape of your neck. Meanwhile, a fungus called malassezia, which naturally lives on every human scalp, has gone completely unchecked. It feeds on the excess sebum and produces byproducts that trigger intense inflammation and aggressive dandruff. Not the light, occasional flake kind. We're talking thick, yellow, plaque-like crusting known as seborrheic dermatitis. Your hair is visibly clumping. It's emitting a rancid odor that is distinctly different from body odor: fermented, yeasty, sharp. And here's the nightmare twist that hits at day 90. Some of those follicles are no longer growing hair at all. 3 months in, and while everyone around you has long since noticed your condition, your body has quietly been developing something far more dangerous than anything visible on the surface. Intertrigo. It's a word most people have never heard, but by month 3 without showering, there's a real chance you're experiencing it. It occurs in the skin folds, the groin, under the breasts, the armpits, between the toes, under the stomach if you have one. In these warm, moist, unventilated areas, the skin, pressed against itself, creates a perfect incubator. Bacteria and fungi thrive. The skin breaks down. Raw, weeping sores develop that are intensely painful. Without treatment, intertrigo can progress to secondary infections. Candida fungi, the same species responsible for yeast infections, can colonize these regions aggressively. In severe, untreated cases, bacterial species like Staphylococcus aureus can establish deep skin infections called cellulitis, which cause the tissue beneath the skin to swell, redden, and become dangerously inflamed. Cellulitis is not a minor inconvenience. Left untreated, it can spread to the lymph nodes and the bloodstream, a condition called sepsis, which is, to be absolutely direct with you, potentially fatal. You're now at a point where the question is no longer cosmetic, the question is medical. But what about the people closest to you? Because your social life by month 4 has completely... Here's a question nobody asks when they think about this scenario. What does 6 months of not showering do to your mind? The relationship between physical hygiene and mental health is not just cultural, it's neurological. Studies in psychodermatology have established a powerful, bidirectional link between skin health and psychological well-being. Your skin and your brain develop from the same embryonic tissue layer. They are, in the most literal biological sense, deeply connected. By month 4 and 5, social isolation has become severe. People avoid you. Personal and professional relationships have fractured. The social rejection, which is one of the most psychologically painful experiences a human can endure, begins feeding a cycle of depression and anxiety. In depression, critically, reduces motivation to practice hygiene. The very thing that could begin reversing your condition feels impossible to do. Meanwhile, your body image has collapsed. You avoid mirrors. You avoid public spaces. The shame associated with your physical state becomes its own psychological wound. Researchers have documented this cycle in case studies involving individuals who suffer from severe depression-related hygiene neglect, and the findings are heartbreaking. Your brain is now producing elevated cortisol, the stress hormone, almost constantly. And elevated cortisol, as it turns out, actively worsens skin inflammation. Your mind and your skin are now trapped in a feedback loop of mutual destruction. And then at month 6, your body does something that genuinely shocked the scientists studying this. What if your body actually tried to solve this itself? 6 months in, something unexpected happens, and it's both fascinating and deeply unsettling. The human body, over evolutionary timescales, existed without modern soap and shampoo for the vast majority of its existence, so it has some limited built-in adaptation mechanisms. By month 6 or 7, some people who have undergone intentional no-poo or extreme hygiene-free experiments report that sebum production on the scalp begins to self-regulate, producing slightly less oil as the follicles adjust to the new normal. Some ancestral hygiene advocates point to this as evidence that the body can reset itself. But here's the critical distinction. Those experiments involved people who were otherwise healthy, living in clean environments, wearing clean clothes, and maintaining basic physical activity. Your situation, 270 days of total hygiene abandonment, is categorically different. Your clothing, if unchanged, has become a secondary ecosystem. The textile fibers have absorbed months of sweat, sebum, and skin cells. Bacteria have colonized the fabric itself. Every time you wear those clothes, you're actively re-inoculating your skin with the same pathogens your immune system has been fighting. Your nails, fingernails, and toenails have now accumulated subungal debris, packed bacteria and fungi living beneath the nail plate. Every time you touch your face, you're transferring that microbial cocktail directly to mucous membranes. And then comes day 270. And what the doctors found when they examined a real case study at this stage will make your skin crawl, literally.
Is there a point where the damage becomes irreversible? By month 9, that question has a deeply uncomfortable answer. Real, documented medical cases, including patients with severe depression, Diogenes syndrome, and other conditions that lead to extended hygiene neglect, show us what this timeline actually looks like at this stage, and the clinical findings are stark. The skin, by this point, may have developed what clinicians call dirt encrustation, a compound layer of sebum, dead skin, debris, and microbial biofilm that is physically hardened in certain areas. Removing it is no longer as simple as taking a shower. Medical literature documents cases where this encrustation required clinical intervention, carefully softened and removed by healthcare professionals to avoid tearing the compromised skin beneath it. Hair, in extreme cases, has formed what is colloquially known as a plica neuropathica or a plica polonica, a matted, tangled, fused mass of hair that can no longer be separated without cutting. Some documented cases have involved hair fused so severely it had to be surgically removed. The odor you produce at this stage has transcended social inconvenience. It is clinically detectable. It contains compounds associated with both bacterial and fungal metabolic waste, including ammonia, skatole, and putrescine, chemicals associated with decay. Your body is at its breaking point.
But day 365 arrives, and the question everyone is asking, can you actually recover from all of this? The answer: you made it to day 365. But here's the truth nobody prepared you for. The nightmare doesn't end just because the year does. If you step into a shower right now, the recovery process is not instant. Medical professionals who have treated patients emerging from extended hygiene neglect describe a careful, staged process. The skin must be slowly, gently reintroduced to cleansing. Aggressive scrubbing of compromised, inflamed skin can cause severe pain, bleeding, and further barrier damage. The encrusted areas require medical-grade emollients to soften before removal. Dermatologists may need to prescribe antifungal and antibacterial treatments for active infections. The hair may need professional assessment, and in severe cases, portions may be unrecoverable. The scalp requires its own treatment protocol to bring the microbiome back into balance. Nails may need clinical cleaning, and in some cases, partial removal to address subungual infections. The psychological recovery runs parallel. Reconnecting with normal social functioning after months of isolation and shame often requires therapeutic support. The cortisol damage, the depression feedback loop, the fractured relationships, none of these heal with a single shower. But here's the extraordinary part. The human body, given time and proper care, is astonishingly resilient. The skin microbiome can restabilize within weeks. Inflammation can recede, hair can regrow, the barrier can repair itself. You can come back from this. The body wants to heal. The question is, after everything you just witnessed, will you ever take a single shower for granted again?